Dope Discussions Podcast. Dope discussions, gated era, co-woke discussions. Mob ties, how they rock and think they both was cousins. Gifting you with their words so you might know you something. Just go and look for them live, they do it every Sunday. Every Sunday.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
And we gon' bring you that dope. It's Gator Beater, baby. Main state to state, baby, coast to coast. Like the vibe, baby, spark the joke.
And we gon' bring you that dope.
Come talk with Erica, man, talk with G. And all you gotta do is talk with me.
And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope.
You know, every time that thing stops playing, I just, it catch me in the middle of singing. And it shouldn't, because I know the song. I sang the song. How
you wrote the song.
Right.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another Dope Discussions with Erica and Gator.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the virtual congregation. It's nice to have y'all in here on a nice Sunday. I even got dressed up for y'all today.
Yes. Deacon Do Wrong is in the house.
Deacon Do Wrong. And
yes.
The lovely Ketris calling me. I've been trying to do right. I've been trying.
You've been doing better.
Yeah, I've been doing better, Like Hulk Hogan said, I've been saying my prayers, eating my vitamins. I've been trying to stick in there.
Yes. I have been a good influence on you.
Yes, you have been. I don't even cuss as much. Well, kind of. Well,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Well, thank everybody for coming back. If you are new to the channel or if you are a returning viewer, Gator and we are simultaneously coming to you live from Hammond, Louisiana and Atlanta, Georgia. And we are so excited about the conversation and the special guests that we have in store for y'all today. As you all know, we love to talk about relationships. We love to talk about self-improvement. We love to talk about, help me out, Gator.
Yeah, we like to talk about everything. We talk about relationships, self-improvement. We talk about inspiring stories. We have guest spotlights, artist spotlights. We even talk about a little bit of ratchetness, if you must know. Which we ain't had a good ratchet show in a while. Every once in a while, we like to go back and do something super duper ratchet. We ain't had a good ratchet update in a while. I think we do it bi-yearly, biannually, I should say. So we have to. That should be coming up soon.
Yes, we'll be having some more ratchet news for y'all soon.
Oh yeah.
But today we have the gentleman from Real Shop Talk in the house, and we are going to be talking about getting over the pain of our past relationships, how to move forward. How, as men and women, that we can create these safe spaces so that we can be vulnerable and reveal some of those scars from our past that we hold so tightly and that we hide from the world because we're afraid of being judged by those. And so we want to be able to get some perspectives on how we can make that transition easier as men and women.
Right, exactly, because we don't want to necessarily continue to put up brick walls and not allow people into our space. I mean, you have to allow people in order to grow with someone. So, you got a little seed in the ground in order for it to grow.
Yes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring out our special guests. Starting out with heavyweight champ Derek Jones in the house.
Hey y'all, thanks for having me back.
Yes, he is no stranger to the Dope Discussion show. So thank you, Derek, for joining us again. Next up, we have Mr. Tony Massey in the house. What's up, Tony?
What is up? I am so excited to be here and excited to be second. Thank you.
No. You are not second because he was voted Atlanta's best beard just recently. So we want to give him a shout out on that one. Good job, my man.
Let me tell you something. Neither one of these guys are second in line. They are all equally awesome and dynamic. And I have become big fans of their show. And that is why I'm excited to have them on. They all bring something unique and special to the table. And then it comes together and it makes, like Derek says, a good gumbo. So next up, we have Mr. Gunterman himself.
Yeah, what up, guys?
There you go.
You know I'm coming with the fire tonight.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm ready.
That's right.
Yes.
I don't need to get ready. I stay ready.
You stay ready. All right. And we got Mr. John Singletary in the house.
E-Class 100. What's good?
Hey!
Hey, Gator, I brought some ratchetness for you. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Hey, look, we did a little bit. We all got a little ratchet in us. That's what Abraham Lincoln said. So, yeah.
I think that was the words of Boosie. I think that was Boosie.
Oh, one of them. I don't know. It's one of them guys.
And last but certainly not least, we got Mr. Tony Watts in the house.
Yeah.
What's up, people? Yes, I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have y'all.
And it was Abe Lincoln because they had the hat, so same thing. Right. Bootsy and Abe, same joint.
Exactly.
Yes, so I want you guys to go around and introduce yourselves to our viewing audience. Let them know who you are, what's your background.
All right, I'll go first. My name is Derek Jones. Y'all probably see me on this show. Maybe, I don't even know, maybe once or twice. But I am the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast. I'm also a certified life and relationship coach. And I'm just here for the convo, the smoke, and whatever else. We just gonna get it in and be honest and be vulnerable. And I'm glad to be here with my brothers because we definitely have formulated a brotherhood, literally. So we gonna be here and we're gonna be honest with you guys. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Me too. And Mr. Tony Massey.
Well, my name is Tony Massey. I'm an author, a poet, an amateur chef, and a lover of all things people. So I'm really excited about this conversation. I think it's one that needs to be had because I think most relationships start where we're starting tonight. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited to be a part of the platform. I've been binging the shows. Derek hit me to your platform, and I've loved every single second of it.
Thank you so much. All right, up next, we got Mr. John Singletary.
I don't know why I had to come after Tony Massey. No, I'm John Singletary. I'm a 22-year Air Force veteran. I'm the host of the Help Myself podcast, an author, and man, I'm a lover of people. Love my brothers. I love y'all's show. Man, I'm trying to catch up too because y'all got it going on. Y'all keep it popping.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Tony Watts.
Hey, what's up, people? I'm Tony Watts, host of Triumphant TV. We bring everything excellence. Also, I'm a certified life coach, also an NLP practitioner. Get up with me. We'll let you know what that's all about. We help you move through some things that's deep and personal, and it kind of ties into what we're talking about today. We can remove some of those stigmas that you got, some of those stains that you're holding on to. We're just here to do the thing, and we appreciate the support we've always got from the hosts. They are super dope, and we're here to help them shine.
Thank you. All right, and Mr. Gunterman.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Gunterman from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. I am the host of the Gunterman Show, Instagram Live every Thursday night, 7:30. I'm a relationship life coach. I have My Life is All About Relationship seminar. We do private sessions as well as group sessions. I'm looking forward to this because you're right at the helm, at the meat of what I talk about every single week with my clients. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, good. We're gonna get some good value. Y'all people out there tonight, let me tell y'all something. We're gonna pass the collection plate because you're gonna need it. This is going to be church. I took the R out of it. It's church. It's not church.
At least some church. You know?
Yes.
We might even have some crying. Well, hold up. Wait. You guys all right with crying, right? Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Why you got to bring up old stuff, man? Yes, we maximize vulnerability on the real talk, real shop talk. So we good with it. We good with it.
Oh yeah.
Emotions here. We gangster, man.
Yeah.
All we do is thug. So.
That's
it. All right, we got some folks out there. The returning, that's Fiel. She's one of y'all regular viewers on the Real Shop Talk in the house. Let's see, Lalita. Yeah, she's one also. Thank you all for joining. We're going to have a good discussion tonight. So let me get into it. I have the first question for you guys. And this is stemmed from a conversation I had with my buddy Derek. He said the word shame is not a word that men are comfortable with talking about. And so I told him, I said, you said you were getting in touch with all of your emotions. You can't take the ones you want and leave the other ones off the table. He was like, hush, hush. But this is the question I wanted to ask you guys. When you have gone through some things in your past and you're going into a dating situation and getting ready to connect with a lady, how much of shame from your past goes into that that situation where you feel like you want to withhold certain things because you don't want her to view you in a certain way? You want her to see you as who you are today and not from the things from your past. Is there any element of shame when you are connecting with a new lady in your life?
I'm gonna say no. Right off the bat, I'm real honest about all 10 of my children that I don't support. I just come out of date. I think at one point there was, but you have to get to a point where you accept and forgive yourself before you can bring all of that into a relationship. So I think it would be unfair for me to come into any type of dating or relationship situation and I haven't really taken some time to deal with myself. So as we sit here today, no, I don't come in with any shame. I've come to, I've reckoned with myself and I've accepted myself and I'm not ashamed of my past and I'm excited about what the future holds. So for me, that's a no.
Good.
For me, I'm of the belief that if you find me appealing today, that all the bits and pieces of my past has made me who I am today. So that's my mindset. And if you need to find out the more intricate details by spending quality time and listening to my conversation or watching my reaction to things, man, I'll keep it real with you. Because like I always say that God can't bless the parts of you that you fake. And if you really want to connect with someone, if you really want a true relationship, you got to be true with yourself and be honest with the situation you're in. I don't hold back. I can't hold back because of what I've been through in the past. The new person doesn't deserve the lesser version of me. They don't. They should receive the wiser version of me. The wiser says that if you're not right for me, I'm going to speak up and I'm going to say, hey, these situations is not best for me. So let's just stay friends. I'm not just going to keep blowing past the red flags in situations and hope that, somehow, some way, if I keep being this amazing guy, that you're going to change or level up or no. I think we continue to set up an environment where a person could be themselves and I could be myself. And then we gather the right amount of data and then make the decision from there. So I don't believe in holding back no matter what I've been through. I've been through divorce and I'm like, that doesn't stop me from being me. No, that's my past. That's 13 years ago. This what you like now, what you find attractive, lean into that. And let's discuss, how did I get here?
I love that.
Thank you.
So for me, there was a time, so I'm married, so I'm not in the dating world anymore. But when I was, there was a time where I wanted to present the most perfect, the most perfect version of myself from the very beginning.
Yeah.
My thought process was, if I give you perfect, and then I slowly start showing you my imperfections, then you'll accept those because you've already fallen for me. And what I had to learn was what I was doing was basically manipulation. I was giving you something that I couldn't sustain and then showing you who I really was. And then I was surprised that you wanted to walk away. So I changed my tactics completely and said, you know what? I'm going to be so upfront and honest at the very beginning that I'm going to ensure that you're able to accept me for who I am, because this version of me is not going to change. So I'm going to tell you about my PTSD. I'm going to tell you about my nightmares. I'm going to tell you about the fact that I'm in therapy. I'm going to tell you about the fact that I'm divorced. Yes, I cheated on my son's mother. And it's not one of those things where I'm just unloading all of my stuff on you. It's more about me giving you the most authentic version of myself. And what that does for me is it removes the element of me having to keep up with the facade, right? Because here's the thing, the more comfortable I get with you, the more I'm going to show you the real me. And if that doesn't coincide with the person that I introduced you to, then all of a sudden now you're in a situation where you're dating two people, you know, the person that I introduced you to and the person that I actually am. And then what is it, you know, what kind of man am I to be upset with you, but that you would rather the former instead of the latter? Especially since that was a better version. So I want to see all your scars, not all of them. And the reason I don't want to see all of them is because some of them you're in a healing process. So maybe you're not ready to show me those yet because they still getting cocoa butter rubbed on them. You know what I mean? So, you know, when I finally have to accept you, then I want to accept the version of you that you're most comfortable with, not the transition that you're going through. And so I do the same when I meet someone.
Oh yeah.
Jump in next. We're gonna let wise Tony Watts go last.
You better.
Hold on. I said last, man. Come on, man. Let me get mine in. I'm gonna be real quick. I don't want to necessarily piggyback, but I want to provide a little bit of nuance as far as like the way that I kind of approached it way back in the day when I was out there. I think the way that I hid whatever, you know, came along with me was more about me making assumptions about how other people were going to take it without giving them the benefit of the doubt of how they were going to receive it. I would assume that they weren't going to like it. So I would present something to them where I would have to kind of like shield them from something that I didn't even know that they may or may not have digested. And, you know, as you go through things and you learn things about how life works, to the point of all the gentlemen that spoke, it's when you realize that when you show the scars that you can show, when you show them who you are, and they accept it, that's when you know it's okay to go further. If and when you do that and they don't accept it, then you know that's the point where you have to kind of be, you know, say this is probably not the route I want to go because this is me. So for a long time, I was afraid, to Tony Massey's point, to show them the real me because I didn't want to be rejected. So I didn't, because I'm like, they're probably going to reject me. So let me go ahead and hide it up front so I don't even have to worry about that. And it worked for a long time, but I wasn't happy. That's so the key. It didn't work. Yeah. It wasn't, because to what Tony Massey was saying, you got to be two different people. Mm-hmm. And the longer you hold that up, the more insane your life becomes, because it's not really you. You're going to start, you won't even be doing the things you like to do because you're conforming to something else. Yeah. So I'm going to leave that there and I'm going to pass it over to my man.
So,
wise.
Okay, so we're gonna leave family business in the family. All right, before I start calling out names, I would say if you feel ashamed about anything in your past going forward, you should pause. I'm going to say that again. You should pause, because what you haven't done yet, you haven't reconciled with whatever that is that makes you feel ashamed. And to jump on the bandwagon with my buddy Tony, what that does for me, to pause, that gives me a space to clean out the garbage. What we do in a lot of relationships is we blame the other person for all the wrongs. We never take on what's ours. So we take that into the new relationship with the shame. So when they start pointing things out, instead of going, well, that other person, you should say that about me too. You're being like that other person because you haven't cleaned out what your responsibility to you is. So like Tony said, what I need to do for me, what that does for me, that helps me stop, clean out all of the garbage that I had, all of the misconceptions I thought about the relationship, all the hurt that I had. You have to sit down and work through that before you move forward. You can't just move forward. I would say if you're going to a relationship and it's shame there for whatever happened in your past, whatever happened, pause. You need to figure out a way to work that out. And if you can't work it out by yourself, that's what therapy is.
Absolutely. What about you, Gator?
Well, I dropped off halfway through this thing because the boogeyman came in through my window, so I caught some of the goodness, right? So I agree with all the gentlemen of saying, you know what, being two people is hard, man. You can ask Batman and Bruce Wayne, trying to balance that is really, really hard, difficult to do. So I think as people, we really do, to the point of what has been mentioned before, we really do need to reconcile the issues that we have with ourselves. We need to confront those things that we feel shameful about. Why do I feel this shame? Why is this something that I don't want to let people know about? Until we do that, we're not going to be able to move on into any type of fruitful relationship, because we are still holding on to something and keeping the secret from someone who's supposed to be able to tune into all of your secrets, who's supposed to be able to be your partner. You can't be partners with somebody that doesn't know everything that's going on with you. So to speak to what these gentlemen are saying, man, you got to confront your shame. And if it takes you going to therapy, you have to do the work. I think when we talked about this previously on this show, Erica, I really believe that men should be in therapy. A lot of these guys have emotional scars that are sitting there that we're even not even aware that we have. We've decided that those things are just, badges of honor instead of scars that need to be healed.
Mm-hmm. So that goes to my next question. I think a lot of times when, you take a pause and you work on yourself in between relationships, sometimes we get comfortable in our singleness that we don't even know some of the things that are lying dormant in us until we get into a new relationship.
Wow.
So I want to ask you guys, what level of healing should be done before, and then what level of healing goes on inside of that relationship?
I'd love to start the ball with this one. I used to be one of those people that believe that you should completely heal from a past relationship before going into something new. And, upon meeting my wife, what I learned is that she taught me more about myself than I could have ever learned in the healing process, alone. And I think a lot of times what we do is we go into this place, especially if we don't actually seek therapy. We go into this place where we are rebuilding with one vantage point, with one frame of reference, and that's our own. Not to get biblical, but the Bible says, lean not to your own understanding, because you can't trust your limited view, your limited vantage point. And it's always been a deal breaker for me when I meet someone and all they have to say about their ex is bad things. Mm-hmm. And I ask the question, what did you do to contribute to the demise of the relationship? And if you say nothing, then to me, what that says is you're not someone who can hold themselves accountable. So I don't think you should go from, one relationship to another. I don't think you should hop through relationships, but I don't think you should be afraid to enter into something new very cautiously, even under the safety of friendship, before you've actually gotten past the last thing, but I do think you should be cautious to not, focus on the contrast. And when I say the contrast, I mean, he's everything that my ex wasn't, or she's everything that my ex wasn't. Okay, but that may be true, but she's got some stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just not manifesting yet. So just be mindful of that. But to me, relationships reveal more about the individual than they reveal about the other person. Because I thought I was a great communicator. I thought I was very patient. I thought that I was a very kind person. And it wasn't until I took my eyes off the mirror and allowed my now wife, to be the mirror for me. She taught me things about me that I ignored, I wasn't willing to accept, or I just didn't think was a big deal. If I'm on an audience of one, I'm the best person in the room. Mm-hmm. It takes that person who you allow intimacy into me to see something in you that you're not even capable of seeing in yourself. So you don't have to be 100% to go into something new. You just have to accept that what you bring, to that relationship may not be all of you, and not that person is going to complete you, because no one can do that. But what that person can do is illuminate those parts of you that you thought were complete, but are far from it.
Man, and I'm just gonna jump in there and piggyback on that. Everything that brother said, but he makes a really powerful point there. Is that I think we use this catchphrase of being healed when really it's more about being in the process of being healed. And too many times we don't know what we don't know. And so you might think you're healed, but there's so many things that you're going through and you don't realize, that something might come up later on, but you got to have the right, stimulus to make it come out. So a lot of times we think we're healed and we're not really there yet. So I feel like it's important to be in the process. I think one of the things that I really champion is I don't ever want anybody to think that they are not worthy to be loved. So we need to get out of that idea that you've got to meet this requirement to be loved. We deserve love, and that love should start with loving ourselves. So to get in that process of healing. But another thing that we need to think about, is that, I did an interview with a buddy of mine, and he was talking with his therapist. While I'm healing in one area, I'm still living life. So I'm being wounded in other areas. So I might be healed here, but I'm wounded here. And so sometimes it's a case of triaging, the level of wound. Sometimes we can play through the wound, but sometimes we got to take ourselves out the game. So I think it's just bigger than just saying, am I healed or am I not healed? And that's really what we have to take a look at sometimes, but we need to be in that process of being healed.
Woo-woo.
Yeah, man. I think it's a 2-level thing. I think as a single individual, the way you heal is by looking over your past and taking ownership. When I say take ownership, that means remind yourself of the things that you either allowed to take place or you actually did to cause all the disruption. Meaning that if you continue to blame the other person for everything, that means that the state that you're in right now is based on some other person? Are you telling me that they have all the power, that someone that you're looking for, a new person that's going to have all the power over how you're going to see your life, how life is going to turn out for you, how situations are going to be viewed and received and addressed? No. The reason why you stop and you look over why you did the things you did, why did you allow that? Why were you a victim to yourself by allowing that person to be that way towards you? Why did you speak out of turn? Why did you respond in such a way? Like, you got to find out those whys, as we talk about, the guys always talk about, find out those whys. So what you're doing, you're taking back the power that you handed to the other person, or you were trying to hand to them by blaming it to them. And once you take it back, now you can say, hey, because if all those negative decisions got me that which I didn't want, that means all the right decisions will give me the direct opposite, the things that I really, really want. So now in relationship, as we say, when you get in a relationship, it doesn't make life better per se. It actually reveals. It reveals your truth. It's the great revealer. You get to see what you put out reflected back to you from another person. You get even to see what frequency you're operating on, because what you're attracting is what you're putting out there sometimes. So this is the wonderful thing about, yes, the healing takes place. And as John says, it's the process of healing. But the first steps is taking ownership, taking back your power, and see that it's your decisions that put you in the position that you're in. And then with the understanding of that, get into a relationship and see what comes about with the right decisions, daring to be your truth, living your truth, and not just saying that it's good enough. No, good enough, I'm good, has been the killer of dreams for years gone by. I'm good. Think about in life. How many times you say I'm good, that means that you're not willing to take extra steps to catch and to hold fast to something extraordinary. Yeah. No, I'm good. No, live your truth and make the decisions based off of the real version of you, so you can receive and see how life can shift towards the better side of life by you making the right decisions.
Man, y'all bringing it.
So I'm gonna jump in real quick. I just literally had this conversation with a young lady about healing, and what she came to the realization was that she used that word, the term "I'm healing," as a crutch. It was something that you could tell people so that you don't have to be out here in the dating market, because it's a scary place, right? Because the last time you did it, it wasn't great. And so you're like, well, what if I get hurt? And so to piggyback off of what Gunter Man was saying about figuring out the why, that is like, we talk about therapy. You may need to get somebody to help you out with that. We don't have all the answers. However, figuring out that why as you move through this life is probably one of the most important things you can do, because when you figure out the why, that's where you start to create the necessary boundaries and the tools that you need to move forward. And once you have that, while you're healing, you could still, to Tony Massey's point, you could still play the game, even though you may have a little injury, because then you will then see possibly the pain points, possibly something that may actually work out for you. But if you don't try to go back out there, you'll never even know if your healing for the past 10 years is even working. You don't know if it's working until you get back out there. But like to the point I was saying at the beginning of this, a lot of people will say, I'm healing. And I'm like, how long you been healing? No, it's been 5 years. When the last time you been out on a date? 5 years. So it's like, so I'm gonna just land there. I'm gonna pass it, but I've heard this a lot. I know a lot of us have, where people have been healing for all of these years, and they're so afraid to go back out there. And then the last little point I want to make, and I think I just did a show about this, but when you take that long, barring anything super tragic and traumatic, right? People take longer to heal from things like that. But when you don't date for 5 years, you don't know how to date. So of course you're gonna be scared at that. You don't even. It's different out here now. You're gonna have to go back and get a manual on this stuff now. Like you would rightfully be scared of something you don't try. So that's why I'm always an advocate for do what you got to do to get your counseling, your healing, do whatever you have to do. But you can still play the game, because now you know where the pain points are, and you know what to let. I always talk about having the karate chops ready, but being open enough to receive a hug at the same time. You never know. Somebody might need to get in there. You don't want to build something they can't get through. So I'm going to leave that there.
All right. So the question is, how long does a healing process take? I would say as soon as you feel vulnerable enough to share yourself with someone else. Because if you're not in that space to do that, then you're not healed. Because we go back to that shame thing. If you're still holding the shame, you haven't healed. If you're not vulnerable in the next position you're going in, you're not healed. And like all of the fellas said across the board, you have to get back in the game. And you don't have to get back in the game. I guess we should look at it this way. So There's getting back in the game to just date and see people how you doing. Then there's getting back in the game to actually get physical with someone, right? I think you should be cautious about doing that because that could lead to blinding you and finding out where your scars are and the pressure points are. So if you're coming off exactly. So if you're coming off a really a traumatic experience with somebody and you really were broken and that person really hurt you and it's been like the third or fourth time this has happened to you, you need to shift how you give yourself up intimately to somebody. So you have to be vulnerable enough to say, listen, I'm attracted to you, I like you, but I have to stay in this lane right now because I'm trying to figure some things out. And there's some people who's gonna be like, yo, I'm not here for that. That's a good thing. Tony Massey says this thing, and I think it's so powerful. No is the best thing someone can tell you because they do not waste your time, you not waste their time, and you keep it moving. Don't take it personal. Sometimes you can't take no personally because sometimes it has something more to do with the other person than it does you. And in the long run, you'll figure it out. You're like, wow, I'm glad that person didn't do that for me. I'm glad that person turned me down. Because what happens is, and I tell people this all the time, is you open up space for the blessing that's coming.
Yep.
A lot of us chase the things that is telling us no because we assume that that's what we want because our eyes tell us what we want, our bodies get a certain tingling sensation. Oh, I'm so attracted, I'm so in love, and we keep chasing this thing that is going, no, get away from me. So we have to understand where those points are. So I'm gonna land it right there.
Yeah, I see it. All of that is good. All of that is good. You know what? I akin this whole thing to riding a bicycle, right? Now, when I was trying to ride a bicycle back in the day, I failed many times because I'm not the best. I'm not the most, what's the word, athletically. You don't have to be athletic to ride a bike. But what I'm saying is that I failed plenty enough times. And I remember my mom would sit there and be like, oh, you bleeding? All right, just go ahead and wipe that thing off, put your Band-Aid on it and get back on and try to keep going. You can't completely take yourself out of the dating game just because you've been hurt. You address those wounds that you have. You should address the things that may be hurting you. You address them. You try to get the therapy. You get the counseling and everything that you need. You get the self-reflection. But don't block yourself completely from dating and putting yourself out there. My brother said 5 years. I've seen that before where women are like, well, you know what? I'm still healing. A lot of that is fear. They don't want to get hurt like they got hurt last time. And those same people, when they do decide to enter into a relationship again, the first thing they're looking for is that hurt. And they start, literally, biting back at every little thing that comes their way. So yeah, continue to get out there, continue to date, definitely. Just address those scars, just address those injuries that you have. Get back on the bicycle and keep going.
Eric, can I just jump in with just one thing real quick, just to follow him with? What was also really important is when you take that long period of space to do this thing, right? You can get fooled very easily. Because especially if somebody with game come up and they got their game so straight and they dealing it to you and you're like, oh, he's the best person in the world. She's the best. She cooks, she cleans, she does this, that, and other. And all of a sudden you can't find her. You buying couches, you buying rooms, and you stuck because you didn't understand how the game was working out. So with what everybody's saying across the board, you don't have to be intimate, but you need to figure out what's going on out there.
Yeah, what you also get caught up in is that sometimes when you're single so long, you get searching for perfection. You keep looking for perfection. You're not perfect. Where are you going to find perfection? And your search for perfection is denying you opportunities. Your search for perfection is denying you opportunities to win. So you got to learn.
Your blessing is not in the package you think. Your blessing is not in the package you think.
You got to learn to roll with it. You got to learn to roll and heal along the way. Get like Gator say, get back on that bike. Ain't no long conversation with mama. Get back on that bike and keep it moving, right? That's it.
And I love that because here's the thing, and I say this all the time. I even wrote about it in my book. Let's say you found perfection. Would perfection want you? I mean, have you done the work to even be attractive to perfection? It's better to find, the imperfections that are perfect for you. Because at the end of the day, we all are going to have to do some work. And you have to remember that dating is just and I think Gunnerman says this, it's a fact-finding mission. You're just trying to figure out, you're collecting data, right? You're finding out what you like, what you don't like. And then at some point, you're going to meet someone who has more of what you like and not enough of what you don't like to eclipse those things you do like. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, if you leave this person, you break up with this person, you're not going to find better. You're only going to find different. Yep. And the reality is that no matter where you go, there's one constant that will always remain. You're going to take you every single place you go. So the real work doesn't focus on he needs to change for me. I just need to be cognizant of who I'm bringing and what my expectations are. Now, that does not mean lower your standard. Not at all. Nope. That means your standard, one, is reasonable. It has to be reasonable. You're not looking for something that doesn't exist. And two, your standard doesn't exceed what you're willing to give. And I think that's the key. You want the world, but you're not willing to give time. You're not willing to give resources. You're not and I get so frustrated, and I won't lie, I'm really hard on men because I really think that men should be the focus when men talk about relationships. And it's hilarious to me that some men are looking for this perfect woman who's, she's a size 2, she cooks, she cleans, she does all this, but yet we start having conversations about, the bills, and all of a sudden you want to be 50-50. Or all of a sudden you want to, you don't want to meet this person halfway, but yet you want her to give all of her, but you only want to give part of you. And to me, that's not about selfishness. That's about the inability to see yourself as worthy. And so to me, if you want to work on dating, work on yourself. It wasn't until I truly fell in love with me and all of my imperfections and all of my shortcomings and all of my inconsistencies, it was easy to be honest about those things because I accepted those things about me. And when I met someone who, one, accepted them, and two, gave me the grace and the space to change those things that I didn't even know was a problem, that's when I just became a better man. Not because she made me one, but because she made room for me to make me one. And that's key. But first I had to accept I ain't perfect.
Yeah.
Neither is she.
I love that. I really love that. So that brings me to another question I had. Well, it's kind of like on the flip side of that. If you're connecting with someone, you see value in them, but they're still working with some of their things to get back to that place. How do you create a safe space for them and foster an environment for them to where they feel safe enough with you to reveal those scars and some of those things that have happened in their past, and then to actively work on that while they're in a relationship with you?
Tony just said it. Grace. We have to have grace. Like, you have to realize, Rick's famous saying, the other person's not you. Mm-hmm. You got to have grace. You have to understand this person's come from a situation that you haven't figured all out yet, right? Because what we're talking about is the nuances of a relationship. This is a new relationship. This is not a relationship that's been 5, 4, 2 years in. We're talking about 6 months, 6 to 8 months that you're giving yourself to somebody. So you have to have grace to figure out what these things are, because we just talked about healing. Both of you guys are still healing. So there's things that I'm not going to be comfortable telling you yet. So we have to have, Tony Massey said, perfect, is we have to have grace for the other person to figure out, why is this particular thing that I do make them jump, right? And then you might find out a year from now that 3 years from now, 3 years from then, she was in an abusive relationship. So you have to be calm to give people grace.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna jump in real quick. I think this one, it's like when you, and I'm going to preface this with this new relationship. You've accepted the fact that you're willing to kind of like rock with them, because I know, like for me, and I've had to talk to some people very recently about taking on someone that had too much stuff, right? And being able to know when to back away. But when you know that it's someone that you really feel like you can deal with, it's really about like these days, the buzzwords are around, women giving men safe spaces to share, but it needs to go both ways, because we all carry stuff. It may come out differently, but women need it too. Men need it too. Provide a safe space. We're talking about a person that you are growing, or if you're in love with. And I always talk about this too. If this is the person that you're saying that you love more than anything, and you know that person is not perfect, and you know yourself you're not perfect, then you need to lend that grace or that understanding to say, I'm going to allow you to be vulnerable and imperfect, and I'm still going to rock with you. I'm still going to be a shoulder for you to lean on, cry on, male or female, because we men need that too. So let's not get it twisted. So it's one of those things where, if you understand out the gate, and people who have been in super long-term relationships, they'll tell you one of the main reasons why you even connect with people is to go in knowing that they're not perfect, that they're going to have flaws. And once you know that, then your expectations of them become real. Like for humans are going to make mistakes and do things, and you have to be accepting of them making some human error, and some flawed things going to happen, and you're going to work through it. And so I'm going to just land and just say it's allowing that person. And this like recent years, I'm just now figuring out that I got to relax and just leave space for me to understand what she may be going through, and for her to understand. And once you get to that place where you have that, then your relationship goes on a whole nother trajectory. So I'm gonna land there.
Man, what that brother said right there, I think when he talked about, well, I'll just say this. Obviously, there are practical ways that you can do these things too. You gotta be an active listener, really trying to hear what the person is saying, asking qualifying questions, really getting to know. One of the greatest things you can do is mirroring activities. Like it's a terrible thing to ask somebody to be transparent with you, but you're closing off to them so you can show them what transparency looks like. But a big thing that we can do that'll really help is sometimes you got to take that expectation off of it. You may hear something that you can't handle, and be open to that. Don't think, oh, well, if I go in and I listen and I say these key words, it's going to work. Sometimes it just ain't meant to work. And so when you come in there with I would say a blue collar versus a white collar mentality, and you're willing to do the work, then there's the potential that other person will be transparent with you. But you've got to be prepared for the fact that they may not be ready to be transparent, or y'all may not create the right bridge for them to be transparent, and be okay with that.
It's okay to fail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's okay
when I
to
think
fail.
about it, it makes me think about, that what's that poem, Our Greatest Fear, when it talks about when you liberate yourself when you liberate yourself from the fears that you have, when you shine your light, you liberate other people by you demonstrating it, by you living it, by you being that example of speaking freely and talking about the things that you've gone through. You find automatically that the other person, if they're on the same rhythm with you, because remember, you're operating into this frequency, that they're going to automatically feel liberated to share what they've been going through. Because if you keep presenting yourself as perfect, the other person might feel that I don't want to mess this up with my imperfections. Like, no. I'm going to lead this relationship. And if you're not right for me, it's going to be revealed early enough. But I'm going to lead by me shining my light, me daring to share and to be liberated from all the things that held me back before, the things that made me keep moving forward when I saw the red flag, when my believing wasn't big enough in who I was, or dealing with false truths. You know, so many of us, we don't think about therapy as something that's going to reveal to us the things that we've been holding on to as a child, that we still operate under those beliefs, but we don't know that we're operating from those beliefs. And sometimes your partner won't even be able to share it, but a therapist, someone who's went back and has studied and understood the mind and the culture of people, they're going to be able to say, hey, you know what you're showing up as. And you're like, oh, I just never knew. Or that situation you went through as a child, that's what's making you do this. And you're like, what? Are you serious? Me? Mr. Bubbly? Mr. Energy? No, that can't be me. That can't be me. And he's like, yup, that's what you're doing. And you're like, yo. And it's been hindering you. So that's what you do. You liberate yourself from the fears you've been dealing with in the past, and you dare to step out. You dare to walk out on it, understanding that as you are liberated, you're automatically going to liberate the other person.
You know, I think it's interesting that there's a place that every man has feared since he was probably 10 years old. It's this mystical, magical place of darkness that's terrifying. We don't want to go there. We don't want to end up there. We never go there on purpose. We just find ourselves there. It's the scary friend zone. This place where you have been regulated to friend, right? And this is all you are, right? And it isn't until you mature and you grow up and you realize the friend zone is not a bad place. As a matter of fact, it is a perfect holding place for developing a relationship. You talk to so many women who say we were friends first, and then we became, whatever. And it's if you come to me with scars that you're not really ready to address, scars that you know are not healed, but yet I see more in you than you are able to see in yourself. And it's funny, I love you so much that I don't want to lose you, right? Mm-hmm. But do you love me enough to let me go so that I can fix the things that are broken inside of me, and be patient with me and stay here and have faith that when I fix these things, or at least when I start to address these things, that's the thing. Like John said, healed is a misnomer. Healing is where we all are. We are all in various stages of healing, right? But if you give me the space and just be my friend, without any expectations, without any promises, without any, guarantees, just be here for me. Then when I go through this process, you're the first person that I'm going to look to, and if I don't, then I just saved you from a lot of pain and heartache. Now, I know some guys might throw out the word simp, and I'm cool with that word. I have no problem with that word, because it speaks to this idea that I'm giving something and not getting anything in return. But again, when you mature to a point as a man where you realize that relationships are not transactional, I don't give to get. I give because I have a desire to give. And I give, and I'm choosy about who I give to, because I want to give to someone who has an equal desire to give to me. But if I'm constantly giving to someone and I'm not getting anything in return, that doesn't make me a simp. That makes me someone who doesn't understand how relationships work. But I don't take you out to dinner and expect something in return. I take you out to dinner because I have a desire to spend time with you. I put you in this friend zone because I have a desire for you to work on yourself and come to me in a whole space, not broken. I don't want to try to love you through your pain. I don't want to be the landing place for all of your heartache and disappointment. I don't want to be the very, convenient target for all this stuff that some other dude did. I'd rather take a step back remain in the peripherals, be someone that you can build trust with, that you can build something with that's not romantic yet. And then when you get to that space where you're ready to give, I'm the obvious choice. And if I'm not, then it's cool. I don't lose anything. Because it would be worse for me to be there with you in a relationship, in your brokenness, and now I'm your target. Every time you get angry, it comes to me. Every time you get afraid, it comes to me. Every time you get pissed off, it comes to me. But if I put myself in the friend zone, then I'm in a deneutralized area. You know what I mean? It's not going to reach me. And if I'm not the one, then I'd rather know that I'm not the one in your healed space than to discover that I'm not the one as you're going through or as you're accepting the fact that you need to be healed. So to me, what you described is the friend zone. And I think more men need to embrace the friend zone and not run from it. And understand that, again, relationships are not transactional. You don't get something because you gave something. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll shut up, sex and money are not equal.
Yes.
If you're spending money hoping to get sex, then what you're looking for is not a relationship. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah, listen, dude. You crushed it. I appreciate all of that. And what I want to jump in real quick to say is there's a level of maturity that a lot of people need to get to. It's okay to be friends with somebody. You don't have to have a sexual relationship. I'm tired of people saying two grown people of the opposite sides of the track can't be friends. That is retarded. Yes. Do you know how much you limit yourself by doing that? This person could bring you so much more quality to your life. They could have more ideas for you to grow from. So learn how to go, hey, I was attracted, but this is not going to work out. But this person is really dope in what they do and who they are as a person. I can learn from, right? Because what people do is people who are genuine with each other, they learn from each other. They help each other out. They tap each other on the shoulder and go, hey, you're wrong for that. You're right for that. Mm-hmm. Hey, I need to go do this. Here's where you can go do that at. So what you're doing is you're pushing away so many opportunities just because you want to have sex. Just because that person that you felt that you was attracted to is not attracted to you. So now they got to go poof. Grow up. Be mature. Grow up, please. Oh my God, please.
I love it. Yes. So here's another point I wanted to ask you guys. How much do you feel that we personally project our insecurities when someone else is revealing, some of their scars? Like you meet a man, maybe he's got 6 children with 2 women, maybe he's been in prison. So you like him, you connect with him, but you say, how's that gonna look, me being with a man who has that sort of past? How much does that play into when we're connecting with people? Do we feel like, how is that gonna make us look by being in a relationship with a person who has a certain type of past?
Oh, well, I'll Derek, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know, right? The silence was definitely
just so you know, that hesitation wasn't because we didn't have an answer.
We all did it at the same time. I'm gonna be real quick. I think a lot of us are slaves to what we think other people will think about us as individuals and our relationships, even with family members, right? And we'll choose people based on that perception, which I think is ridiculous. Because you know that whole thing about y'all look good together and all of that. Mm-hmm. And people will ride that. Why you break up? Because y'all look so good together. And I'm like, that's the bar? Like, that's it? That's the whole relationship, is that we look good together, or this person fits right into our type of family and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, how you feel and how you connect be damned. We got to make sure that it fits this mold, or else we're not going to even rock with you, son. And I'm like, wait, so I'm his son. Don't I get to choose what I want? And so it I'm not going to say that I have never been this way, but I believe when you really understand who you are as a person and what you really want in order for you to be happy, hopefully most of us will get there at some point in our lives, right? Where we know who we are and what we want. And when you do that, then you have to, 9 times out of 10, the answer that comes from that understanding isn't the pretty box that you probably thought it was going to be. I think Tony Massey alluded to that earlier, where it's not always going to be what you think it should be. It's going to be what you need. So I'm gonna land there.
I just have one thing to say. Gunner Man, you can have it. Just one thing. Yeah. Be careful of people who are trying to push you into relationships that they wish for themselves.
That is so real. That is so real. Because a lot of times we put our thoughts of perfection. Our thoughts of perfection are based on other people's opinions and not what we need and what we want and what we desire. When you look at the scenario that you just gave, Erica, I think that people should, see how this person makes them feel as opposed to how it's going to look to the public. Because at the end of the day, when the doors close and the lights go off, it's going to be you and that person. It's not going to be you and, the 50 other people in your neighborhood. It's just going to y'all too. So that's the most important part of a situation like that, is getting to know that person and seeing if that person is the right fit for you. That being said, when you see somebody that has a scenario like that, where you've got 6 kids, you just fresh out of jail, all I can say is make sure you're using your discernment in scenarios like that. Make sure, because I say that all the time, red flags most times are checkered flags. So when you see stuff like that happen, sometimes it's just better to go ahead and end it. When you see those red flags popping up, you might want to stay away from it. That being said, make sure you're using your discernment, but go ahead, carry on, sis. Find out, get the information that you need to get. Do your due diligence in getting that information from that person and see where it goes. But don't let anybody else influence your decision. It's up between you and them.
Love it.
It's like, when you start to put together your list of the things that you want in your person, so often that's been taught for so many years, write a list of the things that you want in the person. But so often that list is a list of things that other people might have told you, or you've seen in movies and things like that. And you say, well, this is what I want and this is what I want. But first thing you need to remember is that evidently, if you're single right now, is that your preferences might not be right for you. How about that? Your preferences, the things you actually like, may not be best for your life. So let's try that on for now. Also, when your relationship is popping, like from the beginning, if you have the time to stop and think about what you think other people are going to think, you might not like that person as much as you think. Because all you need, when you really like someone, look close, all you need is this: to make him tilt your head. To make him tilt your head. Because all those things that you don't like about that person, or what you think your family's going to say, or your friends, or what I'm going to look like you don't care about none of that stuff. That list, you ripping it up. I will never do this, and I'll tell you because I'll never. No, when you tilt your head, you're going to let that list, that all I never, you're going to do. You're going to absolutely do. Now, what comes into play, like what Gator says, as time goes on, now you have to find out if you're in alignment with each other. And that's where it becomes hard. Am I right, Gator? Like, that's when it's like, that's like discernment when you feel it in your heart, like, do I believe in my God enough that if I leave this, what I feel right now, that I can find not better, understanding better, but you'll find, as Tony Massey said, different. That you'll find something different. because that's when where the rubber hits the road. Are we in alignment? I can feel what I feel, but but you got to find out if you're in alignment. If the person kind of strives the same way, are you running a race, or do you have to slow down so they can catch up to you? Are you just steady moving? They're meeting you there. Because that's the way you want it. You don't want to slow your life down, hinder the true version of you. Let me say that instead. Hinder the true version of you to kind of realign and readjust yourself for someone new that you're having these feelings for. Because you can feel the way you feel, but if you're not in alignment, it's never going to work.
Yes.
It's not going to work. You're just going to end up satisfying one person in the relationship, never both. You're going to give in and say, hey, I'm going to be this, okay, babe. But yeah, whatever you say. No woman even wants that a yes man. No woman wants a yes man. Someone that you want them to be their true self, and then I'll set up an atmosphere where they can be their true self. And if it's coming from jail with 7 kids and all that stuff, if that's what's right for you, why are you going to push that away?
Right.
But as you move forward, what are you actually dealing with? Does the situation work best for what you're trying to accomplish in your life, what God called you to be and to do?
Right.
Exactly.
And I think it's important that we kind of look a little deeper when we hear people's story. The story sounds ugly. The story sounds dirty. But what's the end product of that story? Who is the person in front of you right now? Did that experience shape them into a more refined and better person that's in front of you at this moment? So why are you so connected to that story and what brought them there? Sometimes we don't want to separate the person from the story, which is part of you, but it's not who you are. It's just a part of your journey. It brought me here, but that's not my identity. Ultimately, that's not who I am. I did some things in my past. I made some mistakes in my past. I learned from them. I became better, and I moved forward, and I took what I learned and I turned it into something great that I am today. And so why would you discount me because my story was ugly?
You hit it right on the head. I was just want to say that real quick. If you're perfect, right, then you can worry about what everybody else is going to say about this particular person you're going to date. If you're perfect, if there's nothing you've ever done in your past, if you've never hurt somebody, you've never broken somebody's heart, if you've never had all of the dirt that's in your past that you're hiding in your closet, right? And this person that you're now trying to date has a past as well. And the people see the past. This person lived their past out loud. They were on the stage living their past. Your past is in your closet. So if you're judging the person based on the audience, you're not playing the game. Every champion is locked into the game. They don't care about the audience. Perfect example. Kobe Bryant was playing in a playoff game, and Chris Rock was in his ear telling jokes. Kobe Bryant did not change his face because he was game time. So if the audience can influence what you're trying to do, you're not in the game.
Woo.
And I find it fascinating that we can have so much to say about what someone has done. For instance, using the example that you used, just got out of jail, 6 kids, 6 babies, whatever. These are the things that I can't deny because these are the things that you can see. My honesty is predicated on the fact that I can't really hide these things. I have to explain where I've been the last 10 years, and I can't explain it beyond the fact that I was in prison. Right. But then while I'm judging you, or while I'm deciding whether or not I can deal with these things, what I'm not taking into consideration is all those things, like Tony Watts said, that are sitting in my closet that could have easily put me where you are. The difference between you and me is not my high sense of morality. You got caught and I didn't. That's all it is, And so I think about those, the people who judge people because of the amount of kids they have, or whatever the case may be. So are you going to sit here and tell me that every single time you had intercourse, you went into it with the mindset, I don't want this to result in a child? Or did you just get
we're like this. We're like,
did you just get? I'm just saying.
no, let me know when Tony finished.
No, I'm just saying, like, I find it so hypocritical that men can, and again, I'm hard on men because I feel like that's where we need to start. But you're gonna sit here and judge this person because she has children, but have you been actively protecting yourself in every single encounter, ensuring that a child does not result? Or did you just get lucky? And to me, that's the whole concept behind he who is without sin throw the first stone. It's not, you deserve to be punished. You deserve to be, whatever. But don't pick up a stone if you don't want your stuff out there, right? And so for me, it's like, and instead of judging you, instead of holding you accountable for something that you've already atoned for, or something that you are currently, because if you have 4 kids and you're taking care of those kids, then you're showing a level of responsibility that may be keen to me, because you're doing all of this by yourself. So you're holding down a household by yourself, 4 kids. You're probably not getting a lot of help. And even if you are, you're managing these personalities of these men that are in your life. If I saw myself not as a part of your problem, but possibly a solution, then now I could view you in a very different way. But instead, we discount people because they're not perfect. Meanwhile, we're hiding all of our imperfections. You're not ideal, but yet when I look at myself, again, this is why relationships are so important. This is why it's so important to have an accountability partner. Even if you're single, there should be someone in your life. We've talked about this before, the 5 of us. You need to have someone in your life who can say, don't do that. That was wrong. But if no one, and I said this before, if Tiger Woods would have had one brother in his life to pull him by the collar and say, yo, T, what are you doing, man? You're on top of the world. Waitresses, cocktail waitresses, bro, come on. No, you better than this. His whole life would have changed. The problem is he was surrounded by people who were afraid to tell him no. He was surrounded by people who were afraid to confront him and really hold him accountable. And so if you're living your life in a space
they were living their life that way also.
Or that, absolutely. So if
people
you're
were
living
setting
your life
them
in a
up.
space where no one can hold you accountable, or you're surrounded by you're caught in a den of thieves, and this is why echo chambers are so dangerous, right? Somebody's got to come in and say, this is all ridiculous. It's every single bit of it. It's all ridiculous. Oh, you a simp. You this, you that. I will be all of those things. But that does not negate the fact that this is all ridiculous.
Right.
I think too, we also do that. We want a partner who is free from wrinkle, free from blemish, because that will compensate for our imperfections. If I was able to snag someone like this, who's an upstanding person, has no scandals, then that can compensate for my imperfections. And now the world will look at me as also a perfect person because I was able to be in a relationship with somebody like that.
My credit score is 450, but ours is 800.
Yes. Yes.
Let me jump in on this real quick.
All powers combined.
Let me jump in on this real quick. This is something that I had to come to the realization of about myself, and also about like how people view when you talked about just, when we look for people that don't have blemishes, like when we say this is the wifey type or the husband type and they have to be a certain way. A lot of us, and I'm using us because I'm included in this, were part of the people who created blemishes along our paths, but now we're looking for someone that don't have any. And that when I came to that realization, I was like, damn, I was once a part of the problem, and now I'm looking for somebody who hasn't been touched. They haven't been through anything and all of this. And I'm like, well, the people that I inadvertently hurt, they're out here looking for love, and somebody's expecting them to be untouched. And that just blew my mind when I came to that realization. A lot of us, like, we want to hide our stuff, but We looking for people that we're choosing from the dating pool. It's people that's been with people like how we used to be, and we're judging them off the top because they might have a slight thing that they do that might look a little off kilter, and we're like, nah, that ain't good enough. Nope, they don't look like this, so no, I'm not good enough. And I'm like, come on, man. We got to own up to our stuff and really realize that this perfection thing we looking for it's a unicorn. That there's nobody out there that's that perfect.
Not at all. Well, I'll fill this space real quick that we have. There's a rapper out there. I can't remember what his name is, but he was coming at Michael B. Jordan for dating what's called his daughter, and during his conversation, he was saying that girls like that lived a certain lifestyle. So Michael B. Jordan is a simp, blah 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 blah, for dating her. And I had to pause and say, "What are you, crazy? Like, so you and your crew get to run through all of the women, right, and soil all of the women. Now these women are no good to nobody because you and your crew want to run through them. Now let's step back. If we have 6 gentlemen on this panel, if all 6 of us have a crew of 10 and we're hunters, how many girls are going to be left when it's time to settle down? So we really have to move from this mentality of because she had daddy issues or she was trying to find her way and she was innocent and naive about how dudes played around and she's got a little checkered past, that now she has to be labeled as this and unmarriable, untouchable because she has a past. Stop it. Because if you really want to talk about it, you ran through a lot of people to get there, so you have just as bad as a checkered past as she has, and you are not worthy of the things that you're saying she's not worthy of.
Yes, sir. I love it.
Yeah, it was a little Boosie, you know. It was either him or Abe Lincoln. I wasn't sure exactly which one was criticizing, but I figured it might have been Boosie.
Hey, I just got a text from Abe Lincoln. He said, "You're going to keep his name out your mouth, man."
We already talked about this.
I love the topic of the show. If I show you my scars, will you accept me? Yeah. And what I love about it is what we're talking about is scars. And, you know, I have a medical background. I was in medicine when I was in the military. And the scarification process is a very long process. So you have the initial wound, and then the wound goes through various stages of healing. The scarring is the last part. The scar is the remnants of the actual wound itself. But, you know, the scars, you know, depending on how deep the wound was, the scar may still, you might have discomfort. It may be tender, but it's a reminder of what was there, but it's not there anymore. Once you've gotten to the point of scarring, that skin is healed over. You may have some nerve damage. Like I said, it's beneath the skin, but that area is now safe because the body has healed itself. And, you know, nothing can really harm that area in the way that it could when the wound was fresh. When a wound is fresh, the number one concern is keeping it clean so that it doesn't get infected and then cause further injury, right? So for us to have concern about scars, what you're essentially saying is you're so concerned about what happened to me 10 years ago or 5 years ago, something that I've gone through the healing process and I now have I'm now protected from the initial wound and I'm protected from that wound becoming infected. But your focus is not on what happened to me, but the scar that was left behind. Right. So it's the blemish that you're concerned about, not the thing that caused it. It's not the trauma that I went through. And you know, this is where I think cause and effect is so important. You're so focused on what was the effect that you don't even take into consideration what caused this and how I was able to go through a process to be healed from it and now be protected from it. So here I celebrate my scars because I'm no longer in harm's way. I celebrate my scars because that my scars are proof that I made it through something, that I survived. Scars are proof of survival. But here you are judging me for something that I celebrate. I thank God for these scars. I was wounded in Iraq. I thank God for these scars, because what these scars say is I didn't die. What these scars say is I didn't lose my leg. What these scars say is I'm still here. But if you point to my scars and say how ugly they are, or even stretch marks, it blows my mind, men who have an issue with women with stretch marks. Some men have issues with the women who they have children with. Yo, are you kidding me? Those stretch marks are the reason that you have a legacy. You should be celebrating these damn things. Yes. It's just proof that my name is going to live on in some form of fashion. But instead, we focus on what the end result is, instead of celebrating the fact that I made it through. I'm still here. I'm still in my right mind. I still have a desire to try. I still have a desire to put myself out there. I still have a desire to live, because my scars say you can live because you are living. Without scars, then that means you ain't never been through nothing. And the last thing I want to do is get into a relationship with somebody who ain't never been through nothing. Because when I go through something, and I love the fact that the woman I'm with and I tell this story all the time because I'm so proud of it. I caught COVID and I was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks because I have somebody with scars, someone who matches me mentally and emotionally. She didn't fall apart when I got hospitalized. No, she put her armor on. She went to work for me because she's battle tested. She's been there. She's done that. She's healed. She's gone through the process of the healing process. So she was able to usher me through it, even though she wasn't going through what I went through. But all you people out there looking for perfection, what happens when imperfection hits you and this perfect person who ain't never been through nothing, who ain't got no scars, now all of a sudden they're like, I don't know what to do. No, bring me the battle worn, bring me the tested, bring me somebody who's been through some things. So that way, when life hits me, they're not going to run scared.
Right. Bring your
that's
warrior.
That's a word. Pass the plate, please. Pass the plate.
I was about to say the same thing. Where's the plate? Pass the plate.
That was amazing. Guys, you all were amazing. Man, we could go all night. You know me. I could.
Yeah, and right before you close it out, you put up Letitia, what Letitia said. Medals, scars are medals. They are your victory. Like, celebrate those things, yo. Celebrate those things.
You know, we often forget that the things that we have been through in the past, somewhere along the line, if we're at this platform, if we're at this stage of the game where we're actually rendering bits and pieces of our lives to help other people, that we have taken our battle wounds and turned them into our superpower. We have taken our things, that the ugly bits of our lives, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, and then just the downright disgusting parts of us. We have now taken all of that and said, I'm going to use it all to help someone else. I'm going to use it all to help, because I say, what is the benefit of me going through something atrocious if I can't use it to warn someone else, to lift someone else, to encourage someone else, to push someone else, to pull back someone else? Why did I go through it? See, as you use your wounds to help others, you'll find that the grip that those wounds have on you are loosened. So yeah, people have scars, but if you focus on the scars, you might not see the bruise that's underneath the surface, that's residing underneath the surface, that they're not willing to show, that's not easily available until buttons are pushed, and then they reveal themselves. But if you set an environment to show beauty in, your past is your past. I have my past too. If you show beauty in it and leniency and humility, Fiel talked about that. It's okay. Grace is beautiful too, but also be humble. Like if not for the grace of God, there go I.
Yes.
Think about the stories that you didn't go through, that you were fortunate to not to have gone through. So now you take that same grace and humility and you move forward and you deal with people with such passion, that velvet and steel, when know to go hard and when to know to go soft. You got to be flexible. You got to have that ability to listen, to set environments for people to be themselves. Because if you deny them the ability to be themselves, that's when you find out 2 years down the line, you said, I do. And then this real stuff comes out because you didn't set up an environment for them to feel safe to be themselves. But they want you so bad that they'll just keep moving forward. And that's what we deny ourselves. Use your past as superpowers and understand that if you operate from that position, you're going to allow the other person to freely use their past as their superpower too.
Yes, I love it. Thank you guys so much. We got to have y'all back again pretty soon.
Yeah, definitely got to have y'all back.
This was awesome.
It was church. It was definitely church. I got the collection plate going around the back, so everybody just make sure you the kind that folds, not jingles. Thank you. Go ahead.
After church, we're gonna have some cookies and some juice.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. This week we got Delaware punch.
All right, now y'all better leave my church alone. It's getting a little too real for me.
Yeah.
Not the Delaware punch.
Not the Delaware punch. Wow.
The Delaware punch.
Yes, it go down, it burn your throat going down. All right, so we're going to close it out. I'm going to go around and let all of the guys give us their closing statements and tell us where we can follow y'all and connect with y'all. And then I'm going to post the next episode of y'all show that's coming up tomorrow so everybody can look forward to that. So let's start out with Gunter Man.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Hey guys, once again, I'm Gunter Man from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. You can follow me at Instagram at Soapbox Stand Up and Speak, where I have my Gunter Man show every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Final thoughts regarding this: be yourself. Fight to be the truest version of yourself. And in the midst of you being you and you endeavoring to love the real version of you, you'll find that your frequency will operate at a place in a space where the person that you're meant to love is going to have that same freedom. Walk with wisdom, of course, but connect. Dare to allow the other person to be themselves by you being yourself first. Bless you guys.
Thank you. All right, Mr. John Singletary, close us out.
All right, I'm John Singletary. I'm actually Bishop Tony Massey's armor bearer. So I'm gonna come get the Bible, and I'll bring the robe and the cape to put around you, so you'll be, we don't want you to get cold or anything. So I got you. And I did collect some of the collection, the bills and stuff. So I got you. But no, you found me right here. Oh, there you go, right there. That's me, right there. So check it out. The Help Myself podcast drops on Monday nights. It's pre-recorded, so it doesn't interfere with anything else. So just go and check us out. I'm so thankful for the invite. Thanks for having us on. I say it all the time, but it is an extreme privilege, pleasure, and honor to be associated with these gentlemen. And a topic near and dear to my heart, scars. We're all scarred. We live in that space of who we think we should be, who other people think we are, and who we really are. And the journey needs to be figuring out who we truly are. And so then there'll be a willingness to not only show our scars, but to be accepting and supportive of others with scars. So, we talk about it all the time. Do the work to figure out who you really are. And then you can travel this world as your authentic self, and that'll truly make the difference. So thanks again for having us. We really appreciate y'all.
Thank you, John. All right, Mr. Tony Massey.
So first of all, John is lying. John started another church across the street from mine and said you only had the time. This was so much fun. I love cross platforms because I just feel like when you meet like-minded people, more truth gets to come out. And it's just, there's so much noise going on right now when it comes to relationships. And I feel like the only way to build our communities back to where they need to be, where they're supposed to be, it starts with relationships. And the first relationship I think that everyone should have is one with themselves. And I feel like platforms like this, that's what facilitates that process. So I'm just honored to be a part of this, honored to be a part of Real Shop Talk. These brothers have really changed my life. I learned so much from them, just communing with them. on the nights that we come on. So you can follow me, Tony Massey Cooks. You can see a lot of my, I think I said I'm amateur chef, so you can see some of the dishes that I put up. But definitely follow us, realshoptalk.net. We have some shows that we've done before, and of course, every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for sharing your platform with us.
Thank you for coming. All right, Mr. Tony Watts.
Yes, thank you, Erica. This has been so. Just so many jewels was dropped tonight. Like, I really appreciate being here. My mission is to bring back the village. In order to do that, we must step back and look at who we are and who we're trying to be. There has to be a vision in the movement. And when we had the village, I could talk to your kid. You could talk to my kid. We could build strong communities and relationships. Everybody on this panel is here because that's what they live it. I'm going to tell you that again. Everybody on this panel lives what we're talking about. We're not just doing this just to be here. We live this thing. I'm a mentor on several platforms as well. So we're here to do some real work and really bring back relationships to where they should be at. You know, like we say on our show, if you come to see us, our show, and you just out here doing your thing and you just running around, come check us out, have a laugh or two, but we're not really talking to you. We're talking to people trying to build strong relationships. And Erica, again, thank you so much. And my buddy back there, you said a whole lot of wonderful things. We appreciate you, bro. We understand Atlanta. We're going to get you strapped up so you don't have no problems.
Look, you can't mention the word strap in Atlanta. It's a problem.
All right, my boy D Jones.
Okay, so a couple points real quick. Well, about the show. First, about the show. I always tell people, we're talking about scars. Stop going out here looking for people that are afraid of your scars and look for people that will accept them. And you'll find more growth and more grace from that lot than the ones that will run from you. Secondly, I'm gonna just breeze through my stuff real quick. You can find me at relationshipgumbo.info website, and then you can get everything from there. So you can see my podcast, the Relationship Gumbo podcast, which is every Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and all the other stuff that I do. Second, the next point I wanted to make is realshoptalk.net. These gentlemen, my brothers, this thing is that we just kind of, it just kind of happened for me, but I appreciate what it's growing into. And y'all see the chemistry on this show. Like this ain't, we not faking it. Like we really rock like this. We have fun, but we bring a lot of value to you, and we genuinely care about people, especially everybody in the comments. The last thing I want to say is Erica and Gator gonna be on our show on August 2nd.
What?
So we get to share the love and make it come right back. Also with another young lady, I think her name is Queen Cole, or I forget what her name is, Queen Cole. We're gonna have another show with them coming back. This is how we do. We collaborate, guys. This is the village that Tony Watts was talking about. Collaboration is a big part of that. That's why Real Shop Talk even exists. So I'm gonna let that land there. Oh, and tomorrow at 8 p.m. The Real Shop Talk. Go to realshoptalk.net. Yeah, we talking about. Matter of fact, Tony Massey, if you can just give him like a little 60-second blurb about what the show is about tomorrow.
Yeah. We're reaching back and we're looking at the fatherhood dynamic, and the two fathers that we're going to analyze is James Evans from Good Times, and Heathcliff Huxtable from the Cosby Show. And so here you have two men who were, social economics were different. Their style of fatherhood was different, but yet they both had the same goal, and that was to, take care of their families, provide for their families, and so forth and so on. So we want to just break down these two characters because we all believe that these men exist, and these are very good examples of Black men trying to, be the father and be the husband that they can be. And so we just want to look at the styles of both and figure out who did it best and what were the pros and cons of each. So it should be an interesting show.
And
Yes.
keep in mind that we're talking about the characters.
Yes,
not
the
person.
character. Yes, yeah. Thank you, Gunter Man. We're not talking about
Absolutely.
Bill Cosby and John Amos. We're talking about James Evans and Ethan Hudson. Yes.
So we doing fatherhood versus now. See, I was waiting for the Carl Winslow versus Philip Banks one. So y'all put that on the radar for the next one.
All right, Gator. So go ahead and close us out.
Well, I have nothing more to say. These guys brought it as I knew that they were going to bring it. Appreciate them for coming in and blessing the congregation with those words of wisdom and those words of genuineness. So y'all make sure to tune into their show, give them love, show them love, make sure you like, subscribe, do everything that you need to do to make sure that we continue to grow this village.
All right. And with that being said, we are out of here. Thank you all in the comments for tuning in with us again. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And we are, please, everybody go, anybody that's on our platform. And if you have not subscribed to the Real Shop Talk, please go over there and do that. You will not be disappointed. I never miss a Monday. And if these guys ever stop doing it, I'm going to look for all of them.
She's gonna hunt you down.
Gonna hunt you down. Hunt you down. Well, good night, everybody. Until next Sunday.
Peace out.